world press, as well as the American press, can make the victim of a crime look like the criminal, and can make the criminal himself look like he's the victim. You don't think that this is possible for someone to do that to your mind.
Prior to being publicly humiliated, Nia Long had a long-standing, untarnished, respected public image. Dominant society, aka white society, knew her from Fresh Prince. However, the black community was first introduced to her early on in the 90s from Boys in the Hood. In other roles such as Love Jones, The Best Man, she has never stopped acting and has always been in the acting game for over 30 years. Now, within those 30 years, she met and had a child with her fiance, Ime Udoka, a man who was supposed to love, honor, and respect her and his children. I can only imagine the pain, sadness, embarrassment, and shock she had when she was at work on set, learning of this news at the same time as the whole world did, that not only was her fiance cheating on her with his married colleague, but the Boston Celtics put out a public announcement of this and used it as one of the reasons Ime was suspended. As the media covered this debacle, they labeled Ime an aggressor, as someone who was making inappropriate comments and harassing women, while completely ignoring the fact that one of those women were in a consensual, adulterous affair with him while she was married. They brushed over her willful involvement to make her a victim. They did so with no regard for Nia Long and her child, and they did so because black women and black children are not seen as needing support, help, or protection. Their decision to protect this white woman had everything to do with money, power, and race.
Do you think race played a part in the way they handled it?
I think it absolutely did, and you can sort of see that reflected in the way that it was discussed by media outlets. They would always highlight that the woman who he cheated on Nia Long with was younger, that she was a Mormon, a devout Mormon, which no, she's not. I don't think that getting in affairs with married people is a tenet of Mormonism, but and they would try to play to that fact when they did discuss her after her identity was revealed, that that this is a younger woman who was manipulated by this man, but nothing to the fact that he destroyed this relationship, this decade long relationship, a woman he has a child with, and destroyed his family. That was never highlighted. It was always this innocent woman who was manipulated by her boss and sort of helpless in the situation, which I don't know all of the facts. So I mean, that could be the case, but the way that they wrote about her versus the way they did or didn't write about Nia Long, I think it does sort of show the racial dynamics there.
Nia Long recently sat down with The Hollywood Reporter. She stated that walking away from her latest project was an affirmation of her new mindset. It felt like not only was I supported by my fellow castmate who was black and who had a clear understanding of what I felt strongly about, but there was also this sense that the business I have to deal with at home is more important to me than teaching a white director/producer how to tell a black story. That business was the Boston Celtics suspension of Udoka for what an investigation by an independent law firm deemed to be multiple violations of team policies, including an improper relationship with a female member of their organization. Nia said, "I went home to be with my son, and that was most important to me because he was not having an easy time." On September 23rd, the Celtics called a press conference to address Udoka's suspension. The decision was as unprecedented as the severity of his punishment within the NBA. I think the most heartbreaking thing about all of this was seeing my son's face when the Boston Celtics organization decided to make a very private situation public, says Long, who took her son out of school when the news broke. It was devastating and still is. He still has moments where it's not easy for him. If you're in the business of protecting women, I'm sorry. No one from the Celtics organization has even called to see if I'm okay, to see if my children are okay. It's very disappointing. In my non-legal opinion, I believe the Boston Celtics' decision to rush and publicly hold Ime Udoka accountable while excusing the adulterous Jezebel was unprofessional, and they intentionally wanted to inflict punishment onto Ime without any consideration for Nia Long and the child they shared. In doing so, they caused emotional distress. Nia Long should sue the Boston Celtics. Nia and her son were the victims, not the adulterous Jezebel. She, along with Ime, should be held accountable, not Nia and her son. Thanks for watching.